Namaste, namaste, beautiful, beautiful beings. I hope you are well and that I find you in great spirits. So, I want to wish you a beautiful solstice blessing, and I just really hope your day was as special and magical as it was intended to be, even if you did something really low key or you just tuned in on your own at home. That's really beautiful. It's a really auspicious time to be together with Sangha, as much as it is also to be on our own, really just being in our own energy. I had a really beautiful evening yesterday with Sangha. We gathered for a Vedic fire ceremony and some sharing and some dream weaving together. It was really, really powerful. And I didn't get so much time yesterday to share. I wanted to do a transmission and share some of the astrology of this time and kind of what's going on, but I absolutely did not have the time, because I was just really focused on creating a magical experience for my Sangha. So I really wanted to, at this first opportunity, share with you what's coming through for me at this time. So if you're joining me on Facebook or on Instagram, it's really beautiful to connect. I'm just going to say hi to everybody who's joining on Instagram. It's really beautiful to be with you all. So I'm going to get into this reading, and this reading is aligned to Jyotish, which is Vedic astrology, and also what I'm receiving, my own insights, what I'm seeing, what I'm experiencing as I'm doing the work, the grassroots on the ground, and tuning in to the dragon lines, the energy lines. There is one of the main energy lines that runs, it's the spine of Albion that runs from the Isle of Wight right up to northern Scotland, that goes right through here, right through this land that I'm on, literally right through the house. And so there's a lot that's coming through also in this time from the dragons. So I want to start first of all with a bit of a broader context that we are working within. So those of you that have watched my transmissions before will have heard me speak about the cycles of time, the yugs. And there are 4 cycles of times, and the yugs are the epochs, shall we say. And there are 4 epochs. Kali, which we have come out of, which is the sort of darkest, densest epoch, and we are now into Dwapara Yug. And we're moving towards Treta, and then finally into Sattva. And Sattva Yug epoch is the highest. It is the most luminous. It is of the highest frequency and vibration. And we can't even really cognitively, even with our nervous systems right now, fully appreciate what being in that most highest of epoch is going to be. It's likely that we're existing as pure consciousness, and that we are fully intuitive, telepathic beings, and our existence is moved beyond even the physical realm. And so as far as I am aware, and certainly for myself tuning into astrology, tuning into my work of divination, I very much feel, affirm within myself that we are heading towards the light, towards these higher vibrational epochs. The thing is, we've sort of just, relatively speaking, we've just left Kali Yuga, which is the densest yuga. So we are very much still being drawn and pulled in by that energy. It's a very dense energy. It's like the slingshot is being pulled back, and that's the Kali Yuga pulling us back. And then as that slingshot is released, we're going to propel forward into the light. So we've just got to be mindful that where we are in terms of our human psyche is very much taking into consideration that we're coming out of a very dark and dense energetic time, and we still have the residues and remnants of that. And so as much as the celestial energies and the dragon and the ley lines, the earth energies are holding us, and they're guiding us and moving us and navigating us through, as a humanity in general, we are, as a collective, we still very much are being bound by the residues of what we're coming out of. So that's something to bear in mind in terms of the context. So also in terms of the context, I want to talk a little bit about Jupiter and about Jupiter and Saturn. And Saturn's in Capricorn, that's why I said that. So Jupiter and Saturn. Because for me, these two planets, they're like, for me, the space holders in our solar system. So the planets in our solar system have the most influence on us because they're the closest to us, and their electromagnetic frequency, the radiation that we receive from some of these planets, is most influential. Okay, so Saturn and Jupiter are moving a lot more slowly through the different star constellations. And when a planet moves through the star constellations, they're also melding, merging, mixing their energies with those star constellations. So the energy that we're getting is like a blending of those two energies, of the planetary energies and the zodiac energies, to kind of put it simply. So because Jupiter and Saturn are moving very slowly through those star systems, they really have time to like gather the energy of those star constellations that they are moving through and beam that down on us. And we have an opportunity to harness that energy and really integrate it at a much deeper level. And they also have more time to be beaming those energies down. So as some of the other planets move very quickly through the star constellation. So for example, like the sun moves through in 30 days, and Mercury moves through very quickly, less than a month, and Venus moves through in about a month. And so we're kind of getting those planets that move quickly, we're getting them for a short period of time. We're getting them plus the constellation that they're in. We're getting that energy for a short period of time. So Jupiter and Saturn are really holding this big space for us. And the energy they're beaming down is like the context, is the sort of setting the scene from which everything else is happening. So Jupiter is in Aquarius at the moment, and Jupiter's going to be here maybe for about 7 or 8 more months. Okay, so roughly speaking, and has been here already for 3-4 months, and so this energy is yet still to peak. And Jupiter it's more of an expansive energy. Jupiter wants us to expand and express. Okay, and so that more of an outward projection of energy. So Jupiter is a very strong teacher, really pulling us into our own spiritual insight and connecting into the cosmic intelligence, and really tapping into that knowing, the deep knowing within us, and the connection that we have to our spiritual selves. And so being in Aquarius, which is really about vision and leadership, and coming into equilibrium, for me right now, Jupiter is really holding a space for us to come very, very clearly into our vision, into our spiritual vision, to perceive things on planet Earth as they are differently, and to start to envision a new world in which we are all co-creating. So as we are journeying through our shadow collectively, and all of this stuff is coming up, of course, we can see it's kind of all coming out in this pandemic, all of our trauma, all of our shadow, it is all coming out. And Jupiter is inviting us to actually not stagnate here, to see the bigger picture with all of this. And Jupiter is inviting us to start to have this expressive, balanced, mindful communication, to really explore what is going on and where spiritually we are leading ourselves and we are guiding ourselves, and where is humanity headed. And so this kind of leadership, I say really this leadership is about self-leadership. It's not just about becoming a leader in your community and letting everyone know what's going on. This is about becoming a leader of yourself. It's about integrating all parts of our individual being, all parts of our mind and our body, and coming back into alignment with our soul or self energy. And from here, we lead ourselves. We lead our own paths, and we start to step into our own integrity and our own role and our own soul journey. And through that, we beam out energy, and through that, we gather with others. And through that collectively, we start to lead ourselves and each others into the new realm. So this is what I'm talking about when I talk about leadership. And yes, there is an aspect of this. Some of you might be in positions of leadership within your businesses, within your communities, within politics, or whatever it is, and you can feel so strongly that this is your time to shine and to really help people to expand their vision and to come into creating this new world. And that's also applicable here too. Now Saturn is kind of like almost sort of the opposite, shall we say, like to put it crudely, to Jupiter. So Saturn's all about going inwards and finding that teacher within, the guru within, okay? And learning and journeying into the depths of knowing that I am and that I have everything that I need, that I am my own teacher, and that through my own challenges, my own adversity, my own suffering and pain that I've endured and experienced, and that is where my treasure lies. That is where the lessons and the teachings lie. So because Saturn moves very slowly, it's really inviting us to venture slowly inwards. And being in Capricorn for really another year. So Saturn will spend 2.5 years within a zodiac sign, within a constellation, which is a lot of time to gather that energy. So it's kind of, it's over halfway in Capricorn. So it's really gathered this energy of Capricorn. And this is really about stability and staying power. So Capricorn really, really wants us to drop into our deep, stable core. Wants to remember to cultivate and drop into our deep, stable core. And from here to cultivate that staying power. So it's like a self-fulfilling cycle. The more that we work on our core and our stability, our sense of groundedness and our sense of stability, the more that feeds into our own confidence, it feeds our own reservoirs, it feeds our own sense of self and sense of worth. The more that cultivates a sort of staying power that moves the discipline that we feel like we have to do, and moves us beyond that discipline into just a natural way of being, that this is now naturally my life. And I don't have to be disciplined. I'm just flowing. I've programmed myself with a certain set of beliefs and energies and practices and whatever it is, values and principles. So this is the context that we are working within at the moment. These two superpowers holding this space, really inviting us to dig deep, to look inwards, to really find that inner vision, what it is that our soul desires. And with that, goes without saying, we've got to face up to what is it that then in that vision that I see and that I hold, what is it that wants to now shift, that wants to be released or transmuted, or new things to be created, in order for that intention to manifest, in order for that vision to come in more fully, in order for that vision to be manifest. What's going to shift? Where am I building more resources for that? And that's also part of that going inwards and really cultivating that awareness and coming back out with that energy of Jupiter. And okay, let's talk about this. Let's express these ideas. Let's envision with our community. So there's got to be a balance of going inwards to be able to express intelligently outwards as well. So we've just had a solstice, and solstice is a day of the largest transmission, the widest, or the most intense transmission of the light, of the radiance, of the radiation from Surya, from the sun. And whilst we didn't actually, you know what, we saw the sun. It was so magical. We all sat down, and I had just pretty much finished sharing the wisdom, some of the astrology about Surya, and literally the clouds opened and she beamed down on us and then just left like for 10-20 seconds just to say hello. It was a very gray, overcast day yesterday, but she did grace us with her presence. So I say she, and sometimes I say she and he, because I really do feel that Surya is this like beautiful balanced force, right? And Surya is often actually depicted as more of a divine masculine energy, and Chandra, the moon, is like the divine feminine. But I personally, I really see both of them as having a balance of the divine masculine and feminine energies, and I do with most of the planets, and that's my own thing. And I know that they have their own association, but I tend to see more of a balance of masculine and feminine. So anyway, Surya is in Gemini for the next few weeks. And Gemini is very, very fast acting, very adaptable, quick learning. It's a really fast, quick energy here. So at this time, it's like a lot of things are moving and shifting into place. And, you know, certainly here in the UK and in the West, it's like we're starting to learn a lot now. We're starting to learn a lot about what's going on. There's a lot of disclosure. There's a lot of information coming out. We're starting to like form opinions and like, okay, let's see what's happening here. And it's very quick. It's speeding up. And this is what we need to go through in order for us to start to ascend to the next level, is really become more aware, so that we can share this stuff with each other, and we can start to do that mindful communication and visioning with each other. So there's a lot coming in at this time with the aid of Gemini. A lot of clear intellectual communication and creativity coming through this very quick information. And the sun itself is very much the soul. It's very much the soul power, the self-leading aspect of this being that I mentioned before. Our luminosity, our organizing power, the very core of our commitment and who we are and what we stand for, and our confidence and impact. It's very much like, I am soul, and I am here, and I'm on a soul's journey. This is my vision, and this is the impact that I'm here to create on planet Earth. So the sun is really inviting us to become more aware of who we are and what we are and where we're on our soul's journey and the vision of our soul. Now, there's always a lower and a higher sort of vibration or interpretation of everything, all the planets and all the constellations. And I tend to talk more about the higher values, so that, because the idea is that we're leaning into the higher values. It's great to be aware of the lower tendencies as well that these planets can bring in. And what this really is, it's pointing us to the signs and symptoms we can look out in ourselves. So this is when we are out of balance or out of alignment with these energies, or there's some sort of stagnation happening or blockage. Then what happens is these energies come in and we're not utilizing them at their highest potential. We're falling more into the lower tendencies of what these energies can bring into us, because we can draw that energy in and we can turn it into some beautiful gold, or we can draw it in and we can turn it into some kind of muck, because we really are the alchemists. So with the sun, there is like this tendency, if we're not bringing this into balance, for us to become quite restless, to be chasing and bringing in an aggressive energy to this time. So whilst it's quick and fast moving, if we're not kind of recognizing that in that is an intelligence, and in that is a creativity, and in that is an opportunity to create beautiful magic, and if we're getting really frustrated with this, like things are moving fast, but I don't feel like I'm able to, if we're getting really stuck with it, then this fast moving energy can turn into kind of aggression, and actually we can be using it to try and chase something that isn't really aligned to soul. Okay, so we can be using that money to try and quickly spin into money or business or something, that just actually isn't really aligned to us. So it's really important to be mindful about how we're channeling this energy through, moving this energy through. Now, the final part of the puzzle that I want to share is the moon. And the full moon is happening in 2 nights. The moon is in Scorpio. And again, this has an alternative, like a higher and a lower expression. So I'm going to start actually, because this moon in Scorpio can be a really challenging one, because with Scorpio, our shadow can really come up. So if you imagine the scorpion, the sting of the tail is like, it's that pain. It's that quick pain that can paralyze you. Okay, and again, this is also, can very much see this being mirrored out there in society, that there is so much fear being out there, and so much fear that we're receiving and we're choosing to tap into, and that pain and that trauma that's being created and that's also being triggered from our past is bringing up this pain that is paralyzing so many others. And the thing is that it really requires us to channel. We need to be moving this energy through, because if we're not careful, we are going to remain paralyzed, like so many of us are. And so this is even more important in this time, to really harness the energies that are coming through. Things can feel very dense and muddled and muddied here in Scorpio, particularly with the moon really relating to our emotions and our psyche, and very much relating to our feminine emotional aspect, our intuition, our sensitivity, emotionally and energetically. And the moon is very absorptive because it is the closest planet to us. So we call it a planet, but really it's not a planet, but we'll say it is. And it's very absorptive because of the nature of its makeup. And so it's absorbing all of the really strong energies coming in from the cosmos and literally beaming that through on us. And so the moon is very influential in terms of what's coming from the wider cosmos, from the planets and the stars, and beaming that down on us. So right now, because Scorpio is coming through really strong, and the full moon is the brightest, it's the biggest moon, it's like the most energy really coming through from the sun as well, and from the other planets. And I know I'm not really going to talk about any of the other planets because there's a lot. This would be just a full-on mega long reading, but I just feel like I'm just touching on what's important here to kind of build enough of a sense for you to pick up on, generally speaking, what's going on here. Because actually, the best way and the most accurate and in tune way that you can work with astrology is to get a reading yourself, so that when I deliver these broader readings and channelings of the current astrology, you understand how it makes sense for you, because you understand how you interact with the moon, how you interact with Saturn, Jupiter, the sun, and you have your own relationship, you understand your own relationship with those planets, with the star systems. And so when the current astrology is happening, you go, oh, okay, this is actually Scorpio is great for me, because that's on my rising. And so I'm less likely to fall into the lower tendencies because I have a strong Scorpio rising with a strong planet in it. So this is only giving you half the picture. I'm giving you like a generalized thing, but to make it really in tune and really specific, you got to come and get a reading, okay? And I can forward you to a lot of other Jyotishis, and I myself also do readings. So coming back to the moon is very full, and it's sending the strong energy down of Scorpio, and on the higher expression, Scorpio is also representative of the snake, of the Kundalini Shakti, this infinite potential of energy that lies deep in our root, that has this capacity of transmutational power. So it's like you have the sting and the pain and the suffering and the paralyzing, but with that comes the potential for the clearing and the potential for the transmutation. You don't have one without the other. This isn't like, okay, Scorpio is going to sting you and you're going to be paralyzed and like you better just find a way to move through it. No. What we're talking about is this comes together on the platter. The pain and the stuff coming up and the shadow coming up comes together with the opportunity to transmute it. So really tapping into your Kundalini Shakti, your Kundalini energy is so important at this time, because when we unlock this energy here in Scorpio, then what comes is this supreme magnetism and staying power and creativity. So we become these like fierce magnets of manifestation and just a magic, like, fierce god and goddesses. Like imagine that the Scorpio, the fierce Scorpio goddess, this is literally what we're becoming. Now, the final thing is that the moon, there's this particular constellation called Jeshta that the moon is really aligned to right now in this moment. And Jeshta is about deep esoteric power, and it's very inquisitive, very intuitive, and it's asking us to dive in at this time into these incredible energies. And it's just such a beautiful opportunity that we have in these days, in these months, to really harness these incredible cosmic energies coming in at this time. I really hope that you got something out of this reading, and that you found it useful. Please leave me a comment, please leave me a message, please leave me your words. I'd love to know how this resonated with you. I'm sending you so much love and so many blessings, and hope to connect with you all really soon. Please don't forget, I have free Evolve Yoga classes every Wednesday where, we're talking about Kundalini. It's really just so important now at this time for everything, really. So just please join one of our classes. We have a special full moon cacao ceremony tomorrow as well, which is in person, but also it's here. It's online as well, so you can join us online as well as in person. And if any of this really spoke to you, any of the astrology, you just feel like, wow, come to me for a reading, because we map out your soul blueprint and we really get to see and understand how things have unfolded and manifested in your life and why, and how the energies, the cosmic energies, are really working with you and working through you, and even, coming into this life as well. All right, my darlings, namaste.